Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Check out Lee Carney, Nick Richard, and their crew online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Trey Schaefer, lefty, hurler, transferring in from Southeastern to LSU. Going to stop by in the UDL here in a couple of minutes. Compliments to Noah. Good work for Noah setting that up. Very much looking forward to our next guest, who is now a part of Matchpoint Connection. And, we are a part of the sports talk industry, and we were talking last segment coming into it. This guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer, the heavyweight of the heavyweights, the top 1% of the 1% in our industry, and has left a void in the market as when we announced that Hanagriff was joining us this morning. The feedback inside of our Bunker app of so many people talking about how much they miss his voice, I think is evidence to show the impact that he made on sports talk listeners throughout the state of Louisiana, but now is a part of Matchpoint Connection, which seems to be the buzz within name, image, and likeness. Everybody is talking about Matchpoint Connection. We have talked to Jonathan Pixley. We have talked to Derek Stingley Sr. We have talked to people who have deals with Matchpoint, and we have talked to people who work for Matchpoint. Charles Hanagriff is now a part of the Matchpoint Connection crew over there and joins us now here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Handyman, it is good to talk to you. Good morning.
Good morning, Jordy. It's really nice of you to say, because I don't know that I've ever been called the Hall of Fame before, but I've definitely been called a heavyweight before. So I appreciate that intro. That's nice.
Yes, well, I could say so much more, and you know that, and I always appreciate what you've done for me and our relationship, and I appreciate you being here this morning. Charlie, tell me about name, image, and likeness from your point of view. How has this thing evolved since it went into law on July 1st from your point of view?
Well, I think what we've seen is some guidance in what kids are able to do from a deal standpoint. We saw some of the big deals get done early, which we expected, and we saw a trickle-down effect after that, which we also expected. I think the education part of it has made a lot of ground up in the first couple of weeks. I think the next big thing is going to be how schools deal with their logos, with their copyright, and what they're going to allow there. I think there's some uniformity in what schools are allowing their kids to do. Virtually nobody is fighting the idea that kids can profit off their name, image, and likeness. What there is some discrepancy in is how much they're going to allow student athletes to be able to use the brand that they play for. In other words, you get a kid at LSU is definitely able to use his name, image, and likeness. How much he's able to use, and I'm just using LSU as an example, I can use Alabama or Texas or anybody, how much he's able to use the university's brand to help him in that endeavor, I think is the biggest gray area right now, because the schools uniformly know that they have to embrace name, image, and likeness, or it's going to hurt them in recruiting. Yeah. Where there is a lot of discrepancy is, are you going to allow the student athlete to use that brand of the school in that endeavor?
Charlie, we just had Kim Mulkey on, and she made a comment that I may disagree with a little bit. She said that this is going to impact the high-end players, the football and the men's basketball players, more than it will affect the female athletes. I think that some female athletes are going to have just as big an opportunity as some of the male athletes. Do you see this being a fall-off from superstar to backup?
I think the difference is that the superstars have always had some kind of opportunity, even before name, image, and likeness. I mean, we will agree that the top college football player has more off-the-field opportunities than the top women's basketball player, right?
Yes, sir.
The top women's basketball player in college has had, virtually none. So from a volume standpoint, I think you're going to see at least some deals done. I can tell you that we did a deal for two LSU women's volleyball players that would never have happened. Okay, so you go from 0 to at least 2 And we did that deal on the very first day for Cloth and Nuss, who just left, just graduated. But, she's right in the fact that there will be many more deals for the football and basketball players. But, you're going from zero for the women's sports to at least some opportunity now.
Troy, the feedback on Matchpoint seems to be tremendous, at least from an outsider looking in. Everybody that we've talked to about name, image, and likeness, whether they've been connected to your organization or in and around college athletics, has mentioned the app. Being on the inside of this thing, how big is this beast, and what's the anticipation on what you guys are growing into?
Well, the reason what I hope is that we've got the best platform out there, because we allow for both sides to make offers. That's the uniqueness of our platform. There are other platforms out there that allow for one side to make an offer or one side to accept or reject an offer. But we offer the unique opportunity for each side to make an offer and to negotiate within the app. We also handle all of your – Jordy, you'll get this right away. I think one of the underrated aspects of our app, you go out and you sell an ad, okay? That's just the beginning. And that's essentially what this is. This is an ad. Well, what comes after that? The execution of the ad, what you promise to your advertiser. Well, that's wonderful. But after that comes the process of billing and receivables. So let's say you're a college football player, and we've been asked, what's to stop us from just going around you, just going out to the business ourselves? The answer is nothing. But you then have to seek out that business independently of our platform. And then after you execute what you promised, you have to send an invoice. And then you have to receive payment for that. Jordy, I think you know that that's not always the easiest and smoothest process, right?
Sure.
Billing and receivables. To take that off of the plate of anybody that uses our platform, I think is a huge deal, in that we handle your billing and your receivables, and it's all done right there at your fingertips. So that I think is one of the things we've really got going for us.
Charlie, it seems like LSU has been so kind of we're blinded by LSU and Matchpoint, being that you guys are both in Baton Rouge. You're headquartered in Baton Rouge, and obviously LSU, the flagship university, is right here in the capital city. How have you seen Matchpoint's popularity grow outside of Baton Rouge and outside of the SEC, or just outside of LSU?
Well, I'll give you one good example, and our chief financial officer is a name that'll be familiar to a lot of people, is Zach Oliver, who of course played quarterback at Catholic High and at Northwestern. Well, Zach has procured us a number of contacts up in Evanston, which has led us to do some deals in Chicago. So that would be one example. I can tell you that the student athletes, I'm still using that word, I've just been programmed, okay? Sure. The kids at LSU want to know what the kids at Alabama are doing, and the kids at Georgia want to know what the kids at Florida are doing. What we're seeing is an expansion, because when you see, if you're a player at Alabama or Auburn or Georgia, and you see Derek Stingley get a deal, you want to know, hey, how'd you do that? What were the steps that you took? And when you see that it goes through Matchpoint, and they obviously communicate through social media, and you say, well, hey, look, I did this. It's really easy. It's very user friendly, gives you a lot of options. Well, then quite naturally, then those players are going to want to experience that as well. And the app is free, it's easy. The kids live in their phones, so we put it there, make it easy for them to expand.
Yeah, as powerful of anything that you could have done in marketing promotion, nothing was as big of a boom than Derek Stingley just tweeting out that he was one of the first athletes to sign a deal through Matchpoint with Walk-On's logo and Matchpoint's logo on that tweet. I'd imagine that gave you millions of impressions to start this thing off. I can't get you out of here without asking a couple of sports questions. What was your thoughts on Jay Johnson being introduced as the new LSU head baseball coach?
Going to that press conference, Jordy, it was very, I hate to use the term Saban-esque, but I was at Saban's press conference, the introductory press conference, and what struck everybody was, after the Hallman press conference, after the DiNardo press conference, where they went out of their way to, and it wasn't a bad strategy, out of their way to win the press conference. Wilson certainly, did his due diligence in talking about the program, but he was more matter of fact. It was very measured. He just laid out why he was coming here, and it was all about baseball. And, I think there's some advantage to LSU having a guy that doesn't have any ties here. Some of LSU's most successful coaches ever that came in here didn't have any Louisiana ties, didn't have any LSU ties. Skip Bertman didn't. Stu Gunner didn't. Nick Saban didn't. Will Wade didn't. Bill Arnsparger didn't. It's almost like an advantage to him that he doesn't have any ties here. All about baseball. He's not a Bertman guy. He's not a Maneri guy. He's just a baseball guy. And I think that will play in his favor. Obviously, I like what he's done so far. But at the same time, you have to be realistic about this. The expectations here are much higher than where he's coming from. His record in the 5 years he was at Arizona for the COVID year out, 2 trips to the World Series and 3 trips out of the postseason. That's actually only a couple of games in the postseason better than what got Smoke Laval fired here. Okay, yeah. Smoke take out. So you had 2 in Q in Omaha, and then the other time he went to the finals. All right, and in the other 3 years he doesn't make the tournament, or he made 1 regional. I'm sorry. Smoke made 4 postseasons, didn't win a game in Omaha. So and his regular season record was superior to what Johnson's was. And he got him fired. So what he did at Arizona was terrific. It's not enough here, and he knows that.
Yeah.
So you got to take it into consideration from that standpoint.
Ogeron's loading up the private jet Monday, flying over there with Stingley and Deculus for SEC Media Day. What's your anticipation for year 5 at Ogeron and the crew?
I'm going. You believe that?
I'll be there, Charlie. I'll be there.
I'm going. It took me getting out of the Daily Plug business to actually go to Media Days for the first time in quite some time. So
yeah, you were sending me. You were sending me every year.
He hates it.
Right.
Thought you were going to do it at the beach.
Yeah, usually I am. Losing Rosenthal hurt.
Yeah.
That was it would have been a very nice soundbite to say we have all of our linemen back. And up until about a few weeks ago, you could say that. So that was a real blow. But it looks like a very good team. And they got to get the quarterback situation sorted out. I suspect that they'll do that. I'd like to say fairly quickly, but I'll be surprised if Brennan doesn't start the opener. That's not to say that he's going to start the whole season, but I think he'll start the opener. And then from that point on, you've got a lot of things to like about this team. So, hey, it's talking season, right?
Yes,
so
indeed.
we'll get to it.
Charlie, it's great to hear from you, man. Thank you for the time and the insight on Matchpoint. Looking forward to seeing you over at in Hoover, as we'll be there on Monday following the Tigers around for Media Day as well. So thank you as always, and talk soon, man.
All right, Jordy. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.